Hey guys, hope everybody's doing okay out there. Hey, we're going to do a quick Q&A session for a retirement savings plan during a pandemic. By the way, I'm Troy Redstone. I'm the founder of PhD Retirement Consulting. I don't know what questions might be on your mind, but these are the kind of questions that we're actually getting from our clients and from our plan participants right now. One of the questions is, what in the world's going on with this economy? Another question that we're getting quite a bit is, what should I even be doing with my retirement plan? Should I be putting money into the 401k right now? And another question that's come up in just the recent weeks is, what should I do with this stimulus check that's coming my way? Now, if any other questions are on your mind, feel free to email me at troy@phdfirm.com and we'll try to answer all your questions. What's happening with the economy? Well, there's not a real nice way to say this, but kind of like the economy blew a tire. Imagine, if you will, your dream vacation. I don't know where that is for you, but let's just say, for instance, maybe you're going to take a 1 or 2 week vacation and go out to Yellowstone. And obviously, a 2 week vacation, you need time to plan that. You need money, and it's not something you just throw together real quickly. So it's a big deal that you're going to Yellowstone for a 2 week vacation, and you drive all the way to Yellowstone, and literally 10 miles before you pull into Yellowstone, you blow a tire. Super inconvenient, pretty frustrating. You got to get out, change a tire, and try not to get too greasy and whatever, and then continue on into the park and try not to let it ruin your day. But nobody is going to fix their tire, and because of a blown tire, turn around and go home at that point. Like, you're almost there. You're just going to keep going. It's inconvenient, but you're going to keep going. But what if you're halfway to your vacation? Now, that might feel different, but I'm going to suggest the response that we have shouldn't be any different at all. You blow a tire, you're over on the side of the road. You got to get that thing fixed. I mean, either you fix it or AAA fixes it, but you can't stay stranded there. So you got to fix it. And now, having fixed it, there's just as many miles through the front windshield as there is behind you. So you're probably just going to keep going. Like, it's no shorter distance to go home, and you're not just going to blow up your vacation because you blew a tire. What if, however, you were just out of the gate, like 10 miles away from home, and you blow a tire? Now, that's super inconvenient, and it might feel a lot different. And our response might be a little different as well. Like, you blow a tire, you're 10 miles away from home, you're probably gonna turn around and go home, fix the tire, get a new tire, not drive all the way to Yellowstone on a spare, right? But you're also probably not gonna blow up your vacation just because it started off on the wrong foot. Like, it's really inconvenient. It might be delayed by a day because you have to go get another tire, but you're not just gonna blow up the whole thing just because it started off on the wrong foot. This economy is a lot like a blown tire. It's super inconvenient for some. It's really inconvenient for others. But I'm going to suggest that our response shouldn't be any different, regardless of where we are on that path. Let's look at what the economy is actually doing. And there actually, by the way, is some good news in this. The markets are up over 30%. Don't know if you were aware of that or not. I want to show you, there's the Dow, and there's also the S&P index. The Dow Jones was up over 28,000. The S&P was actually at 3,200. By mid-February, the 12th of February, the Dow had actually spiked up over 29,500. The Dow, by the way, had a great day, but actually reached its high 7 days later on the 12th or the 19th of February at 3,300, 3,386. So mid-February, everything looked really, really good. 2020 was off to a fantastic start. Everything was great in 2020 until it wasn't, right? On March 23rd, the Dow plunged all the way down to 18,000 and the S&P was at 2,200. Unprecedented drop. But by the end of the quarter, March 31st, the Dow had already popped back up over 22,000 and the S&P was up over 2,600. And I looked just last month, just a few days ago, at the end of April, the Dow had already bounced back up over 24,000 and the S&P was all the way up very close to 3,000. So it's already begun to rise from that low point in the 23rd of March. Let me remove the confusing numbers and just give you some really simple data to look at. What really happened? Well, from mid-February to the low point on the 23rd of March, the Dow plunged over 38% and the S&P over 35%. There's not a nice way to say this, like it's unprecedented to have a third of the market completely disappear. But from the beginning of the year to the end of first quarter, because the market had already begun to respond, it was only about a 20% drop. That's actually what you saw if you're looking at your first quarter statement. It absolutely was down. Now, hopefully your account wasn't down 20%. That's what the market was down. And your account did better than the market, or it should have. But that's what some people experienced. And some people experienced even worse than 20%, but the general market was down about 20%. But did you know that from the low on March 23rd all the way up to the end of April, it's actually a rise in the Dow and the S&P of over 30%. So there's the silver lining of it's already beginning to rebound. To the question of what's happening with the economy, well, it's pretty easy to check the box. It's called coronavirus. It's called shutting down the economy for 2 or 3 months. It's unprecedented. And what we're experiencing is it's crazy, right? But it's probably what you could predict by just completely shutting down the economy for a period of time. The good news is it's already begun to respond. And yet we're still getting questions like, well, what should I be doing with my 401k? Should I be putting money in right now? I will say it kind of depends. Like if you have a company match, you want to try to get all of that company match. You want to try not to stop contributions if you can help it. But the other thing too is with the market down right now, it's a buying opportunity. So if it's within your means to do, you absolutely want to be putting money in right now. The market's already begun to come back up. It's not where it was at the beginning of the year though. So it's still a buying opportunity over where it was. Ultimately though, it comes down to what you can afford to do, which is kind of this third point of this whole idea of a stimulus check. We're getting a stimulus check because the economy's gotten a real shot in the gut and because a lot of people are hurting and because a lot of people need the stimulus check. The question comes, what should I do with this stimulus check? I'm going to answer that question by looking at the principles of what it looks like to actually put your financial house in order. Now, these are principles that we use when we talk about financial wellness with our clients. These are principles we use in a program called Smart Dollar. And these are principles that we've actually borrowed from Dave Ramsey, if they look familiar to you. The very first step in putting your financial house in order is to actually have an emergency fund. So what we're told is that 64% of Americans couldn't handle an emergency of even $1,000. So maybe you're trying to live on a budget, but something happens. You blow the radiator, hot water heater goes out at home, something happens. All of a sudden, $1,000 expenditure blows the budget apart. So if you don't have a rainy day fund, it's going to pour. You've got to have an emergency fund. It doesn't have to be exactly $1,000, but you've got to have an emergency fund and be prepared for an emergency. That takes us to step 2. It's eliminating debt. So that's the basic answer of what you should do with the stimulus check. If you get a stimulus check with money that you had not counted on, you've got to use it to eliminate debt. Okay, again, we're in a pandemic. It's an economic crisis. What's going on? I will tell you, some people, it's absolutely devastating. It's debilitating. Other people, it's just inconvenient, but it's not crushing all of their financial picture. And really it comes down to debt. Like those people who don't owe money to anybody, who don't have credit card debt, who aren't being crushed by that mountain of burden of owing someone's, those people are not experiencing it in the same way. That's what we'd like for every one of you, is to not be living with that kind of debt. It's a crazy thing. As soon as you realize that interest that's paid to you is like a reward for living smart, and interest that you have to pay is a penalty for living beyond your means, you're going to change your perspective on debt. Debt is this idea of somebody else trying to control you. I don't want you to have to live there. Step 3 in putting your financial house in order is savings. So we're told that 70% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. When I first heard that stat several years ago, it was a study from the Wall Street Journal. At the time, I thought, really, is it that many people? But then a crisis like this occurs, and I'm thinking it actually might be more. Like there are that many people that are living paycheck to paycheck with no cushion, no margin at all. Why is that the case? Well, because of debt, because of not living on budget, because when they earned $1 more an hour, they found a way to spend $1 more an hour. So there never was any type of cushion. So you've got to have margin in your life. I don't know what it is for you, but let's say you earn $4,000 a month. Then you probably ought to have $8,000, like a couple of months worth of savings or a couple of months worth of earnings in a high interest savings account, just to provide cushion. If you're earning $5,000 a month, have $10,000 in a high interest savings account. But you've got to provide some cushion to be able to breathe. Okay, you can't handle that financial stress of continuing to live this way. Step 3 is saving. Step 4 is investing. That's where the 401k comes in. If you're able to put a lot of money into the 401k right now, that's a great idea. It's a buying opportunity, but you don't want to be doing that if you still have a lot of debt, if you still have a lot of credit cards and everything like that. Step 5 is planning for the future for your kids, college savings. Although you don't want to be looking towards planning for them if you haven't taken care of planning for yourself, which is retirement. So retirement comes before college savings. Step 6 is paying off the mortgage. So paying off the home early, again, same thing. 2020 is debilitating. It's awful. There's not a nice way to say it. But I will say, those of us who have zero credit card debt, zero mortgage payments, zero owed to anybody are experiencing this differently. And people that are completely under the pressure of owing somebody else, they're not experiencing any of that freedom. And that's not what we want for you. So financial freedom is the point of putting your financial house in order, which is actually step 7 in the process. Freedom to do what you want to do with your money. It's your money, like you earned it. You ought to be able to do what you want to do with your money. And I don't know what that is. Like maybe it's give it to your favorite cause. Like they're raising money for some cause that you really, really believe in. You want to be able to give to your favorite cause. You want to be able to give it to your church or your synagogue. You want to be able to do what you want to do with your money. And if you're owing somebody else, you're not free to do what you want to do with your own money. So those are the 7 steps in putting your financial house in order. Here's what I would say. It is absolutely not a time to go it alone. I hope that you have a good advisor, someone that you can ask questions of, not just 401k questions, but money questions. But if you don't have somebody that you can talk to, please reach out. Our toll-free number is 844-PHD-401k. That's 844-743-4015. Or you can email me directly, troy@phdfirm.com. This is absolutely a time to stay connected, to stay in touch. You can reach me through basically all of the socials. If we're connected on LinkedIn, you're going to see positive and encouraging messages about how to handle money and what to do during this crisis. But our firm also has a LinkedIn page. So find it, like it, follow it, whatever the right term is. We also have a Facebook. I have a Facebook page, and our firm has a Facebook page. I also have an Instagram page or Instagram account. So we have messaging out there on all the socials. This is a time to stay connected. We also have a YouTube channel. So if you've not checked out our YouTube channel, go out there and search for PhD Retirement Consulting. We have a whole library of videos on how to handle money. My partner Mercedes has this whole thing called Minute with Mortgages and debt reduction and budgeting and all kinds of great stuff. So you want to check that out. I'm also on Twitter. The Twitter account is @Repurposement, which is actually the name of the book. So if you've not read this book before, Repurposement, Finding the Financial Freedom to Live on Purpose, it is something that I would love for you to check out. It's at Amazon. But let me just say this. This is not about book sales. We've reduced the cost of the book on Amazon from $18 down to $12. But if you can't afford a $12 book, let me know. Email me, troy@phdfirm.com. Tell me I'd like a free copy of a book, and I will send a copy of a book to you. Okay. The main thing is we want to be able to give you the resources to be able to live with financial freedom and to be able to breathe right now and to be able to make it through this time. So hang in there. This too shall pass. We're going to be through this really, really soon. All right. So we're here for you though, if you have any questions.